All right, everybody. We've got another interview for you all this week. We're doing our yearly Cthulhu Invades interview. This time, I guess he's invading Neverland. So let's bring in all the creators that are joining us, starting with the man, the myth, the legend, Travis Gibb. What's up, Travis?
He can hear you, by the way.
Yes, I can bitch.
Yeah, he says I can bitch. What a way to start out the interview. I love it.
Next up, we've got JD Calderon. Welcome, JD.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And then we've got a duo. We've got Pete Reset. Welcome, Pete.
What's up, party people?
And Emily Reset.
Hi.
How's it going?
Right.
So we've got the Cthulhu Invades crew, and let's God damn it, Travis. So let's get into it. Travis, what is the Cthulhu Invades series all about, man?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out. We're 3 volumes in, but I think I'll figure it out the next one. So ask me next time. Keep just passing that down. No, it's Cthulhu, and he invades all sorts of different things that we love. So the first time he invaded Oz, second time he invaded Wonderland, and now he is off to Neverland. But what makes it, it's an anthology, but what makes it different than a normal anthology is there's one continuous story. There's a beginning, middle, and end to this. So they all connect. They're all connected in a big, larger mythos, which is pretty cool. And we have a lot of fun with them every year.
Definitely. And I know you got the new one coming. It's on Kickstarter. We're going to talk a lot about it, but we haven't had a chance to talk to you about how is it being nominated for the Ringos?
Oh, dude, it is so amazing. I never would have expected to be able to be nominated for the Ringos, because you always assume that that's for direct market stuff, mainstream, as you will. And the fact that, not only does the industry pay attention to Kickstarter, but actually views them as someone who's up for awards. This is really cool. I mean, I'll probably lose dramatically, but I'm excited to be nominated. I am now a nominated creator, and I just brought like 70 other creators so they can add that title to all their resumes and bullshit on the internet. So I'm excited to really exploit and really devalue the Ringos.
It's tanking as we speak. It's just, it's a cliff. It's a cliff. It's gone. Honestly, I think the nominated is worth more than actually winning, because now you just use that wherever you want.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so there you go. You have the title. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so Travis, I guess we'll use you a little bit here as a third co-host. Why don't we we already introduced our panel here, but why don't you introduce them by what their story is all about, since you were the puppet master of this whole shindig?
Sure, yeah. I'd love to. So let's start with Emily Rosette.
There you go. Go for it.
Let's get it really fast.
Yeah.
Well, you said I was a co-host. I'm in. I'm ready.
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm down with Emily being first. She's obviously wearing a Pikachu shirt right now, so she's got.
Yeah, Pikachu Libre.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is not mine.
But if it's the boyfriend's, it basically is yours.
Yeah, I took it, so it's mine.
Yeah.
Yep. He's not getting it back, so.
No.
There's so many shirts that are out in the ether that I want back. Oh, yeah. Will never come back.
It's never coming back, Travis. No.
So Emily's been with us for all 3 volumes. What's really cool is it's kind of leveled up with her age. I love to tell this story. So Dorothy is the youngest. That was 14, Emily?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, Dorothy's around 14, 15. She then did Wonderland with us. She did, and then she was 16. Alice is 16, and now we're in Peter Pan, where Wendy's closer to 18, which is really cool, which is where she's at now, which is really kind of fun to do that transition. And then you see her art. Her art, everything has grown tremendously, being part of that, which I think is so cool. She did the Dorothy story with me in the first one. Second one, she did, who'd you do, the March Hare?
Dormouse.
Yeah.
They're the same character.
I was in there for a little bit in that story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost Travis.
No.
Clocked out.
Well, Emily can take over for him. Emily, so what are you doing now in this next installment for Neverland?
So in this installment, I worked on a story that follows Michael Darling, one of the Darling siblings, and kind of him just like sort of sitting there playing with his toys and everything, and then being faced with this Lovecraftian creature, and upon showing it respect, he's kind of almost like saved in a way, because he's like, all right, well, you're okay. I'll let you go.
Yeah. And which creature are you working with? Because I
all right,
I couldn't pronounce it, so you go for it.
It's
you're the expert here.
It's Y apostrophe GOLONAC. So my best guess is Ugolanak.
Okay.
It's actually pronounced Steven.
Oh,
Steven, yeah.
Steven, yeah. That's where we made the mistake there. Sorry, I couldn't tell. So you get to draw the creature in that?
Oh yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
So basically,
go ahead.
My artistic process and everything started with the fact that he was like, oh, because it doesn't have a head.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a head, and its mouths are on its hands, and so I was thinking, because you wanted it to be a silhouette at first, and you want to not be able to tell that it doesn't have a head. So I gave it a pirate hat, thinking like, oh, that's what he wanted me to do. And so I sent him that, and he was like, I would have never thought of that. And I was like,
yeah,
really? Because that's like the first thing that came into my head.
Yeah.
But so he's got like hands on his mouth, he's got like long tongues and teeth and everything, and it doesn't have like a head or a face or anything like that. Very doughy.
That's okay, Emily. I didn't need to sleep tonight. That's fine.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. That's really that's all I've ever wanted is for you to not sleep at night. So
yeah, there you go.
Really proud of that.
Gotcha, Chris. Travis, while you had some issues there,
I don't even know what happened. Like my like it wasn't that I lost the internet like I've been having.
I was talking about every negative experience I've ever had with you. Hope this helps.
So to have you on the show today and for me to be here, Travis, there's a stipulation that Chris has this big red button that I have, and anytime I just feel like seeing it, I press it, and you get ejected. It's awesome. It works.
I was getting cocky. You're right. Mike. I apologize.
You took it a little too far with that third co-host thing. I had to just put you in your place and brought you back. So here you are.
Fair.
And just building upon what you were talking about earlier, Travis, with Emily being on throughout each series, and I believe we had you for the first interview installment back in. I mean, this was a while ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. No,
Yeah.
more than that.
It was 2020 early.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. But so what's that like? I mean, do you feel like you've grown artistically? Obviously, you can see the changes in your art, right? So how do you feel about that?
I think definitely. I think I definitely have, and what took for that was just letting myself draw things that I like and learning how to like everything instead of just trying to draw things that I don't like. I just try to appreciate everything in life a little more so that I'm like, I want to draw that. Makes it easier.
Wow. That's a very wholesome approach, I feel like.
Thank you. My brain is really big and fat. Thought of that real nice and easy.
That's awesome.
So throughout the anthologies, we're dealing with a lot of public domain characters, and there's things you can and can't do in terms of the aesthetic with these different characters. How has Travis and you dealt with have you ever had a moment where you drew like, this is the Disney version of whatever, and Travis goes, no, I can't have that version because I'll get sued or anything like that? How has he dealt with that in terms of your art?
So the only time that we really had anything like that was, it's only ever been the opposite, where I've been trying to avoid Disney copyright because I've always had it in mind. So I'll do something different and not even know that that's not copywritten by Disney, and so the character just does not look like what they're supposed to look like, and then someone has to be like, no, you're okay. You can I made in the first iteration for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, I made Alice's dress orange because I didn't know that blue wasn't Disney copywritten. Right? But I had the hardest time trying to figure out how to design Michael Darling in this story because there are no drawings of him other than the Disney one. None. And if there are no descriptors for him. No, like, oh, he's brunette. He has a smaller nose. Nothing. There's no descriptors for him. So I just drew a dude. I don't know.
Works. That works. A dude works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just remember, when Cthulhu invades the 100-acre woods, you can't have the red shirt.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing.
Yeah, you have to take that back.
Well, I've met Jim Cummings, and he would let me use it. So.
Okay. Fair enough.
There you go, Travis. We got permission right there.
Yeah, I never asked him, but I just have this feeling he would let me. I can sense it,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, Bob Iger's the dick over there, so
The one you have to worry
the guy
about.
I'm worried about.
Yeah. And all I remember about Michael is the red hair, I think, right? At least.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the only descriptor I can remember of that character. But that's interesting, though. I mean, I think the pirate hat idea is awesome. So that's cool that you're having that type of input on the story as well. Like, yeah, that just makes sense for him to have a pirate hat, or the creature to have a pirate hat.
That's what I was thinking. Is kind of like when it's a silhouette, when you first see him and everything, you don't know.
Right. Yeah. That's very cool.
Whoa, a dog.
One of the things I think that's really cool about that particular story as well is
I have a puppy now.
Chuck, which we all know Chuck. He couldn't get the script done in time. Emily really wanted to work with Chuck. He couldn't get it done in time. And our friend John, I asked him to replace Chuck, John Westhoff, and John has such a love for the people in this indie community. Even though I was willing to throw Chuck to the wolves. Not really, but like I was John was like, "Can we still get Chuck? Can I just write his script?" I was like, "I guess if you really want to." And they called and they talked, and he wrote Chuck's script. So it's story by Chuck to make sure Chuck was on here, which I think is really cool. I think that's a really cool commitment to the community and helping somebody out. When things are getting rough. I assume that's kind of the way it went when Donnie Cates had to leave suddenly with the divorce. People just kind of picking up his piece of Alan Ewing coming in and doing that. I thought it was kind of neat. So Chuck and Donnie Cates are basically the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
Have you actually ever seen the two of them in the same room at the same time?
No.
Think about
it.
Yes, and Donnie Cates was way cooler.
Chris is trying to help. No. Shot down, man. Nice try. So moving on, we're gonna defer to the third host again. Who should we talk to next, Travis?
Well, let's keep it in the family. Let's talk to Peter.
Oh, okay, nice.
So Peter has also been in all three books, but he has been in the first one. I always like, look, you can just correct your child's spelling, but you can't. You're not allowed to write things. And then Peter's like, but I can write things. Look at this thing I wrote. I was like, no one can publish this. You literally. We do public domain. This is not public domain. He's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. All right. So I took him under my wing, educated him, and now he's done 2 stories. Well, that's basically how it worked, right, Peter?
Sure. Yeah. Something like that.
With a beard like that, the man was meant to write.
Yeah.
It's one of my loves for sure. But yeah, so I was, as you put it, I was a proofreader for Oz, and I believe it was one of those, hey, you want something to do, sort of conversations that kind of blossomed into that. And I've done some editing here and there for some other things as well since, and absolutely love doing that. And for Wonderland, I did the Four of Spades story in that one, and here for Neverland, I've come back and I took on Billy Jukes, who is one of the pirates. He is described in the original story as being the tattooed pirate. So he has tattoos from head to toe. He's the only one that's described as such. He says, "I, Captain," and I, Captain, and then he is killed off screen by Peter Pan in the original story. So when Travis started taking kind of solicitations for it, I was like, I'm going to take him because nobody really knows him or is going to be able to do anything with him because he's dead. And so I kind of made the decision that, he's not dead. He's actually immortal. And like a lot of people that get tattoos, they get tattoos that mean something to them. Well, Billy gets tattoos about the ways that he's died.
That's cool.
And so all the tattoos on his body are all the various different ways that he died.
That's amazing that you can take a pirate that had 2 lines and a death scene, and you're like, no, there's more. There's more there. Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, he's got to run out of space for the tattoos eventually, right? So
eventually, yeah. He just gets more and more and more heavily tattooed as he goes along for a while. I mean, eventually, there'll be tattoos on tops of tattoos, that sort of thing. The other thing that made it really nice was I did this very early in the process. So in our production group, I was able to tell everybody, listen, this dude's immortal. You can stick him in your story. You can even kill him, and it won't matter because my story will explain why he shows up again and again and again. So
that's awesome. You took the comic book science to a new level.
Right.
Yeah. So you did. Is there a creature involved with yours? A Lovecraftian creature or no?
I do have a Shoggoth that shows up like right at the end.
Okay.
Which if you end up looking at the Kickstarter page, you get a bit of a preview of that page.
Oh, nice. Awesome. No, I'm looking forward to that. That's really cool.
Look at the Kickstarter page.
Yeah, we'll get to the Kickstarter page.
Hold your horses, Pete. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Pulled in Deborah Lancianese for my artwork. She's the artist on Jonathan Hedrick's Quicksand. So I've worked with her in the past as a editor on that. And she just did a bang-up job. And Emily actually is the person that did the coloring on my story. And you'll actually kind of notice a little bit when you look at it, too. We tried to make it kind of look like the entire coloring was a faded tattoo.
That's cool.
Nice.
And it's all orange.
Yes, it's got kind of like that pale skin instead of the whites. It's got like the pale skins of the whites. All the blacks are kind of starting to turn a little bluish, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And before we talk about the Kickstarter page, we can't forget about JD. So, JD, first time on the show.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for providing the lovely art behind you. So now we can direct everybody to go to YouTube and finally check out our videos because that is pretty sick. So, JD, give us the rundown in your story in Cthulhu.
I'm what this is my first Cthulhu story with Travis. It was kind of cool that he invited me in. So it's funny because he asked me to work on the Birds of Neverland. He just gave me a very blank slate. He was just like, "Look, Birds of Neverland," And I was like, it took me a couple weeks to think of something. I just sent him something. I said, "Look," I have some ideas of what could be done. And then Travis said, then I had asked, I said, "Can I use this character? Can I use this character?" And he said, "Well, I got these 2 characters available. There's 2 of the Lost Boys, right? It's Curly and Nibs." And he was like, "Can you do something with them?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I fit them in there. And I think it worked out well because, I love working on crazed young boys who are fearless and who just want to attack things because that's what these kids are, right? They're the Lost Boys. They're like just out there, Yep. And my idea was, what happens when a crazed young man comes in contact with cosmic horror, right?
Yeah.
What happens when he is faced with that thing that is unbeatable, but in his heart he's unbeatable, right? So that's the story. And then there's also incorporated this Bird of Neverland, that this promise of family. Right. So I try to incorporate all those things into that story. It says we have this thing about the boys rearing this bird, them encountering this horror that's coming from the sea, and then encountering this greater horror that's coming. And they're like, what do we do at the end? And then my climax. It's a very short story. It's 5 pages, but it was actually pretty cool. So, so I thank Travis for the opportunity for doing it. It's one of those things where it's just like, I work on the Oswald Chronicles. That's what's sitting behind me. And so much of my energy goes into that. It's once in a while, it's very good just to hit a different gear and work on something a little different.
Yeah. Get a breath of fresh air, do a handful of pages and go back to your normal stuff. That's cool.
Well,
who did the art for your story?
That's a good question. Travis needs to answer that because he assigned me an artist, and I was just like, I got the art back, and I was like, oh, that's the time.
That's awesome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Roland Marxes. He's the letterer. He's the colorist for Cthulhu, not Cthulhu, Coins of Judas. He's a really good artist himself. One of the reasons why I asked JD to do it is Neverland's tough because everything's human. Like even like the things that aren't human are humanoid. Like the fairies are humanoid. The mermaids are humanoid. You know, a crocodile is just a crocodile. But there was one scene when I was looking deep diving, trying to give people new characters, and I found this Neverland bird. It's only in one scene, and basically what it does is it saves Peter. Peter gets knocked off a cliff. It saves Peter, and then Peter gets mad at it and tries to kill it. Because Peter's forgetful in the books. Tries to kill it. This bird gets super mad, being like, "Dude, I've saved you a whole bunch of times. We're friends." And I was like, "Oh, this is cool. We need to do that." Because one of the good things about Oz and Wonderland is you had all these unique characters, unique stuff. So giving that to JD, and what was really cool about it is they came up with a really cool design for it because there's no description either. Like, we don't know if it's big. We don't know if it's pterodactyl. We know that it can carry Peter Pan. That's the extent of what we know.
Yeah.
So it's cool to get JD. And again, one of the other things about JD is I really wanted somebody outside of my circle to be in this book. And JD, though we go the same circles, we don't talk. We don't hang out on the regular. I'm sometimes on his show. You know, we may sometimes private message each other, but not about anything serious. So I like that, you know, JD isn't one of those people who need the cred from me, right? A lot of people are like, "Hey, I need to be in this book. Travis, please help me out," because they want to get their cred. JD doesn't give a shit, which is what I love about it, though, because that's the people who I want. I want people who I go, "Hey, man, I see your work." Oswald Chronicles isn't the type of books that I love, but I love the art. I love the style of the storytelling. I picked up the few. I've read what I've liked. It's not, you know, the Fievel Goes West, like not saying your book is that, but like that kind of style is not what I love. But I do respect you as an artist, and I'm so happy to get you in on this and help you know, kind of show some more voices in the indie circle.
Hey.
And yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, how many on this anthology are returning? How many are new? What was kind of the balance there for bringing this one together?
Well, it was Cullen Bunn, and then, you know, everybody else. I didn't really care who else was in that.
Name drop.
Yeah.
You know, and then Rich Dueck's like, you know, I've worked on a few Marvel things. All right, you can come too. That's it though.
You just didn't think Cullen was busy enough? Was that what it was?
Dude, I got him before like I realized that I was a Pokemon. Like, I didn't realize that he was going to write for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, when I got him, he had not done that. I got him like right. You remember when he said he did that tweet that was very vague that everyone kind of talked about, where one of my companies said they're no longer in the Cullen Bunn business, which we believe is Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Since changed their tune. But yeah, I got him way before that. But then I was just like, he works for everybody. That is not as exciting anymore.
Yeah.
But it is, I would say, about 35% new. 35% new.
Okay.
Nice. That's exciting.
It's exciting being one of the notches in Cullen Bunn's belt. It really is.
Yeah.
Right.
That might be better than nominated for a Ringo, honestly. I don't know. You can.
Is that going to be in your X profile now? I work with Cullen Bunn.
Well, it's funny when you go, you know, not
the
the Kickstarter like Peter did, but on the Kickstarter we have all the logos of all the companies, and I basically make the joke, this is basically every place that Cullen Bunn has worked.
Yeah, right. That's true. You
just need him to get all those credits to make us look really good.
Yeah. You're like, now that he's here, I can just throw all these on.
Right.
That's awesome.
So let's talk covers real quick.
Yeah.
You got some cool covers, and I now have new technology, so we can do this.
Whoa.
Bam.
What?
Nice.
Wow. All right.
Look at this.
This is cool.
I love this cover. This is like your A cover.
Yeah. So that's the same guy who's done all three. You know, that's Etienne. I can never say his last name, but Etienne, his full name, because he's Canadian and he's got one of those French names that I don't know how to say. But that's Etienne. Red 5. He does Dead Kingdom for Red 5.
Okay.
And that's Angela Odlin.
This one gives me a like a cart. Cartoon
Yeah.
Network vibe. I don't want to say
Yeah, like-
Adventure Time, but like Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like Adventure Time, like line art with like Clarence character design.
Yep.
That sounds right.
I like the. I mean, I don't know how you make Cthulhu cute, but they did it with the
I
eyes.
know.
Yeah. Like very non-threatening. It's like, come
Yeah.
hang out with me, kids. You'll be
And then
fine.
we got the painted one. You do one of these every time.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, Kyle Willis does those, and I believe this is the best of his three. You know, these are always on. They're made on the book, so he paints them down on a canvas and paints on top of it.
Wow.
So it's wild. Does JD? Does your wife paint?
No, Daphne, no.
Daphne?
No.
And
This is hands down his best one.
Yeah.
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 Travis, so he hand paints these. Is that how he does like those paint? Because he always does like cut pages. It looks like torn apart, like cut up pages. Do you know if he like puts those down and like
What?
paints
Yeah. What
them?
he does is he cuts up magazines and pastes those down and
Oh.
makes a mosaic from the
That's
cut up
interesting.
pages.
Yeah, because I
There we
wondered
go.
how that because that's how it
cuts
looked
up
on the
comic
last one.
books. For these, what he does is he takes the book and then he puts it down. Like if you zoom in right under the Neverland, you'll actually see a little Peter right there, which is pretty wild. He's got to scan him pretty quick, but it's a little bit under there. He's right there. You can kind of see his feet. It's kind of hard to make out. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's right there.
Yeah.
there's
So
something.
you see all the words, and Dorothy was on one of them. Like these are really cool. We own the Oz one. We don't own the Wonderland one because I just haven't let my wife spend the money yet. But as long as it's that Kyle she could get it. And I'm definitely owning this one. I've got to own this.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So you got 3 great covers for this this new anthology, and I guess that's a great way to jump over to the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Kickstarter. You've already unlocked some of the. There we go. You can pull it up right here.
Right there, Travis.
Yep.
Look at that.
Ooh.
There you- Almost at 20,000.
Almost
So
at 20,000.
We might make it by the end of the episode. So let's see. Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, if we don't, we're just going to cancel it. And it's Chris's fault. Just said for everybody, if you wait for the book 12 days, Chris promised me a bump. And it's weird that he's doing this not live and recording it and then going to put it out later. But we'll see.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
You got 2 terrible writers that are also backers right here.
Right. Yeah. Nobody knows those guys.
Yeah.
So talk about the Kickstarter. What do you got going on with it?
It's very typical of what we normally do. The physical's $29. Ends up being 35. It's 235 pages currently. Probably be the biggest one yet because that's without the poems. That's without the prose that we have to write on this. We've got some really cool creators. Obviously, we were Ringo nominated. Digitals are $12. If you want to get all 3, we give it to you for $30. As you see, we have people who work for everywhere. Look at all the places Colin Bunn's worked.
I don't think he's worked here yet.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah. So I think we're thinking Band of Bards, Antarctic, and Red 5 are probably the 3 he hasn't worked for.
I don't think he's done Zenoscope either.
Oh yeah, probably not. We got Mr. Pat Shan, who's representing the Zenoscope.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, you had to bring up his name. Now this entire interview is gonna get flagged on YouTube.
Yep. That seems to happen every time we have Pat on the show.
Yeah, so we're going through. You got, like we said, the 3 dynamic covers. We got some great art here that we're looking at. It changes. The images changes every 5 seconds. I didn't read that, Travis.
Wow.
So
There you go.
and then here's your list of creators.
I mean, we've got some big people. We got Rich Woodall from Electric Black. We got Pat Shan. We got Richard Duack. We got Richard Farrell. Like we even have people who aren't even on here. Like what? I can't think of how to say his name. By the Horns. How do you say his name? Makuda? No.
Got me.
I can't think of how to say his name. But the creator of By the Horns is in here. We got Mary Zabella, who does My Little Pony. Russell Nolte, Stan Yak, Tom Levine, David Burr. All these great people who've done amazing things. And me.
Yeah. Travis Gibb. You're doing the overarching story again?
I do the overarching and I do Hook. So I claimed the big
cool.
guy this time.
Nice.
I claimed Hook.
Okay.
So I resurrect Hook. We can also sell all the old ones here. We sell them all. I even let Frank Martin come to play for once.
Wow.
Nice.
I've never let him play before, but I was like, all right, since this is the last one of the trilogy, we'll let you in.
And here we got some of the interior art that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
There is a preview, 24-page preview available on the Kickstarter for everybody. Click on it, check it out. My selling point was like the bloody Peter Pan. I don't know. Oh yeah, you're pulling it up. You're getting to it.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. I was like, hell yeah. This is not your typical Peter Pan story.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. We've taken it, and again, this is the end of the era. This is the end of this arc. So for this is the end. There's going to be one more book next year that kind of ties all of them together. It's going to be like a shared universe. It'll have Oz characters, Wonderland and Neverland, and that'll all be written by me, but various artists. Look at that Neverland bird that JD.
Yeah.
I don't know if JD gave that description or not. I don't remember, but it looks cool.
Write it down.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah, no, he came up with that all on his own. Like I said, it came out great.
I like that bird a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It looks large enough to carry someone too, so that's good.
This is the one I'm looking forward to.
TikTok.
I want to know what that alligator's up to.
It's a crocodile.
Whatever. Same thing.
It's up to being a crocodile. That's what it's up to.
It's a big dinosaur that shouldn't exist anymore, but you crazy people in Florida still let them run around.
Yeah, you give them
One
free
of the
reign.
cool things that about this one compared to the other ones is we really hit the Lovecraft stuff. So you're almost to the point where we show all the Lovecraft characters, and as we've talked about in this, a lot of the monsters. We hit it really hard this time. You know, we got the Dagon, we've got Herbert West, that's a reanimated story, Detective Thomas Malone. I can't tell you what his story is because that would ruin the story if you don't know. The Yellow King, and Cthulhu. So we really hit that hard. We got the same poetry we've always had. So it's really good. I'm really excited about this. I'm really proud of it. I think it's going to really look good on your shelf with the other two, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's I think the story arc for this one is one of the better ones of all three. You know, last one we did the war between the loyal and the mad. This one we've got something similar going on, which is kind of fun because everyone knows Peter Pan from the Disney movies, but they don't know Peter Pan from the book. So Peter Pan in the book forgets very often. He's a child, so he does things that are fun for him. He's not afraid to murder a lost boy if it's fun. Like your child, like if you have kids, your kid will shoot you and says, I want to be the bad guy sometimes, because that's what happens. There's stories literally in the novel where he says, I sometimes don't give them the fairy dust in time to see how far I can get them to the drop, but sometimes they fall to the bottom and it's okay. There's times where they have the lost boys crying, hey, I'm starving, because he gave them imaginary food and he doesn't know the difference. Like, he's kind of wild.
That's insane.
It's completely chaotic neutral,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Metal bookmarks. Look at that.
Oh yeah, metal bookmarks.
I didn't know such technology existed.
Yes.
We've had them for a bit, so we've done them since the beginning. This is the third installment of the boat. For this one, we also created a new Bloody Red Villain set, since this is the end of the trilogy. It's right below. So there's this set. So we gave you something new. If you are an Oz fan or Wonderland fan, Neverland fan, you can pick up these really cool bookmarks, which I think are a lot of fun. So we got all the villains on there: the Wicked Witch of the West, Queen of Hearts, and Hook.
Wow, those are cool.
And then I wrote a lot of.
He's got a lot of add-on stuff. I noticed it's nothing from anybody else, just Travis's stuff promoting.
And for the hardcover collectors, out there, are we ever going to get a slipcase for those 3 hardcovers?
That is the plan. We're trying to figure it out. So for the next book, I want to have a slipcase that will fit the little book in on the side, because it's going to be small. It's going to be between 60 and 80 pages.
Mm-hmm.
The minimum I can to get a hardcover with a spine. We're going to hopefully get a slipcase. We're also talking about maybe doing an obumnus. Is I saying that right? Obumnus of the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And that would come in a slipcase, and that would be hopefully the same size as the other one. So that's our hope. I just don't know where to buy those. Like,
Yeah,
I've never looked.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that, JD? You've done pretty much everything in the comic industry. Have you ever done a slipcase?
I've never done a slipcase, but I do know some vendors.
Yeah. See,
I haven't done
JD's
it,
got the
but
hookup.
I got a guy.
Yeah.
That's why you
got
talk
a guy.
to New Yorker. They have a guy for everything.
Yeah, he's got a guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
Well,
you
I mean-
really brought along JD. Is you
Yeah.
have a guy for everything, and he
Yeah.
needs
I-
the connections.
Yeah. I work with brokers, so they know pretty much everyone.
Yeah. They're wheeling and dealing. They know who to talk to.
But the question is, how do you send it without crushing it? Because
Send
if it doesn't
what?
have books in it, it's way easier to be
Oh.
crushed.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
a plain
Well-
slipcase, yeah.
Sometimes they'll stick foam in them.
Yeah.
You can do foam.
They'll have foam inside of the slip, so you pull out the foam, put the book in.
The same thing like
So-
when they do computer cases, they just have big foam pieces in them so the glass doesn't break on the sides.
Right.
So what you can do is make special Cthulhu foam inserts.
Right. And then,
Touch it,
and
just
no one will ever put
explodes
their
into
books
tentacles.
inside of the-
Yeah, there you go.
no one will ever put their books inside of the thing. Just to
Yeah.
keep it.
Now,
This sounds like a shipping nightmare, Travis.
Yeah, this doesn't
hence
sound
why
like
I haven't done it yet, Chris.
it's all starting to add up.
People really want the Oz hardcover. I haven't been able to reprint them. I'm hoping that towards the end of this campaign, if we have a little extra, I can add that towards the end, at least print, 50 or so for the people who want the Oz, because some people don't have it. I don't even have one. I've had to sell mine because someone really, really wanted it, which is pretty cool that I have a book that people want that. But I did want to tell you something that you probably aren't aware of. I've been lying to people for a little bit, Chris.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
I'm shocked.
Mm.
You sound like a shock voice. The next book is not going to be 100 Acre Woods. I have been talking about it for a bit, but I feel if we did 100 Acre Woods, it'd be kind of more the same. So we're gonna split up for a little bit. So our next thing is going to be Grim Fairy Tales. So
Oh, I
Wow.
like that.
we're going to be doing that. We're hoping to get a trilogy in kind of that, probably 2 Grim Fairy Tales and maybe 1 Fairy Tales, because there's a lot of great fairy tales that aren't in the Grimm catalog.
Mhm.
But kind of have its own marketing, its own stuff. They won't be connected stories. They'll be just retellings of all your favorite fairy tales, adding Cthulhu.
Oh man.
Nice.
I better get like Hansel and Gretel chasing down a cosmic horror. That's the story I want, please. That's what I need.
Are you just
That's
going to
what-
replace the Beast and Beauty and the Beast with Cthulhu?
Yeah.
Yes, so Bella's just making out with Cthulhu. All the
the tentacles.
Yeah.
The tentacles
You know-
are just
I'm
over
there.
her face.
I do got to get more of that non for safe work. It seems to be doing really well on Kickstarter. So
when this happens, Pat Shan needs to create it
Yep. There you go.
because it just needs to be the sexiest thing on Kickstarter. when it happens.
Please do that. What we haven't talked about is the milestone rewards either. I mean, you always do this. You have always a lot of content that you're giving out to people when you hit certain milestones. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
yeah. So for every 50 backers, we're giving a digital comic, which is pretty cool. So every 50, we're going to give that. Obviously, we'll have really cool stretch goals when we get to that point. But yeah, every 50 backers get you another stuff, which on a normal campaign, that doesn't happen that often. But I mean, we literally just hit 400 2 days ago, and we're already almost 450. So we get to give a whole bunch of digital rewards. So if you buy the digital, you're going to get a bunch of stuff added on for free, which is really, really fun. And some of the cooler books in comics.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, you said you only have to pay for the digital reward and you get all that stuff included. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's such a crazy deal.
Yeah, and Pete, is this the collective we were talking about off
Yes.
air?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about off air. Yeah.
Oh,
So this
sick.
is one of yours,
Yep.
or has one of your stories in it.
Yeah, in
Savage.
fact, there's a few people with that have stories in that one in there. My story's in there. Chuck has a story in that one, as well as LK.
And I know
Cool.
Mike is a big fan of Night Wrath.
Oh yeah, Night Wrath. Yep.
Pipe
Okay.
Cleaners for me, and that fits in because that's a Cthulhu-esque story.
Yep.
Yeah, we tried to get fantasy or horror stuff, as best we could. Like even the Tales of Collective that has a Cthulhu story in it. That's why we picked it.
And Savage Squashkanot, or I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, you said it right.
You did it, dude. You nailed it.
Oh,
Nailed
good.
it.
That's that's obviously has Cthulhu in it, I guess. Oxymoron's a great book. So what else you got in here? What's 800? Just give us 800.
Give us 800.
Yeah, tell us. Tell us what
is
800 is.
Let's see. I don't normally plan that far ahead. That here's kind of
He doesn't have 800.
but here's what I'll do. It'll be a trade. It'll be a full trade.
Oh.
It's the Venom trade. I'm telling you.
Leave the Protector, because everyone needs a copy of Leave the Protector. And even though it's digital, it'll still be comic store version. I won't have the Spider-Man grabbing his head. It'll have the barcode.
Amazing.
Oh man. So yeah, this has been awesome, everybody. I think we can kind of go through if you have social media you want us to, or everyone out there to follow, or if you have another project going on you want to pimp real quick. Now will be the time, and we can just go in order. JD, thanks for being on the show. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the JD Calderon, DeviantArt, same thing. In 7:30 tonight on every Sunday night, you can find me on YouTube on the Indie Comics Explained under JD Calderon, where I do stuff like this, where we talk to various creators. And as far as Kickstarter, I have my next Kickstarter jumping off tomorrow. That's the Oswald Chronicles. You'll be able to find it at theoswaldchronicles.com, or if you're on Facebook, trust me, it'll be posted all over there. And that's pretty much it.
Great.
So as you're all listening to this, that is live. So go check that out as well.
That will be live. Yep.
Pete.
Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Pete, where can people find you?
They can't. I'm pretty much here in this office all the time, constantly.
If you need to contact him, contact me.
Yeah,
I'll tell him.
But head out to your friendly local comic book shop and pick up a copy of Quicksand from Scout Comics. Issue 1's out now. Issue 2 is coming out August 23rd.
Did that issue 1 sell out?
I have no idea.
I
know I've got a few copies of it.
I think it's about Diamond, but not on Lunar.
Okay. And Emily, you said we could find Pete through you. So where can we find you?
So you can find me primarily on YouTube and Instagram at Emily Risett, Riesett.
And Travis, everybody knows where to find you, so we'll just skip you.
He looks so disappointed. Don't say that.
Wow.
No, guys.
Talk about Orange Cone. Come on.
You guys want to come to my home address? I could just give that real quick. And
yeah, we're gonna find you, Travis.
Completely doxed Travis.
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
I'll be in my living room refreshing this Kickstarter because Chris made a promise and we're not there yet. And,
if anyone wants that address, by the way, DM me.
Or just back any of my Kickstarters at
Chris will tell you.
Orange Cone, find us at travisgibb.substack.com. That's where all my latest information's up. I just did a really cool post about some of the cool stuff that's coming for the rest of 2023 in the paid Substack area. You can also find us at orangeconeproductions.com, where you can find all of our books, which is pretty cool. That's broke down in Voodoo Nations and Granite State Punk and Coins of Judas and Expired and Holiday Spirits and Sing Along, Cottage Cheese, all sorts of cool stuff.
Love it.
It works.
Love it. So everybody, thank you so much for taking the time today to come on and chat about Cthulhu a little bit. It's always a blast doing these little Cthulhu Invades get-togethers. So as we say every time, best of luck with the campaign and best of luck with your independent projects. And to everybody out there, the link to the Kickstarter is down in the show notes below, so make sure to check it out and click on it, because I made some promises that I shouldn't have made, and you need to fulfill those promises for me. I don't ask you for anything, so other than going to Patreon at patreon.com/fortunecomics. But other than that, I don't ask you for anything, so please do that. So yeah, thank you all for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good night,
everybody.
guys. Thank you.